You're crazy if you think I'm not going live. You're crazy. You're crazy. $1 Cardano is in. It's nothing to get too excited about, everybody. It's cool mentally to see the number, but I put in the thumbnail, it begins, because there's still a long path ahead for Cardano ADA. And that's kind of what I want to talk about in the video. I also put in the title, ADA's severely undervalued. I'm going to demonstrate why that is. It's very simple. It's becoming, to many people, clear as day. The fake news media in crypto, the negative outlets that just didn't give Cardano a fair shake, it's becoming evident to them what's happening. So with that in mind, as we kind of step into, obviously we'll look at price, we'll look at the charts and everything, but I do want to kind of bring the story together, a little update on the story now that we are at $1. I was a little hesitant to do the live stream. We all know it just seems like anytime I do a live stream, let's just go to here it is on the daily. It's a really nice daily candle. $1.02, just hit $1.03. There's a concern that price just, starts falling. Everybody, if you're out there, if you're an ADA holder, let me just, got to do a little pound. It's nice that $1 is here, but again, still a ways to go. We still have a lot to talk about. Hit the like on the way in. Hit the subscribe if you're not a subscriber. It's not just ADA on this channel. There are others. Bitcoin. I don't even know. Bitcoin's getting ready to break 100,000. But let's talk about Cardano in this video. Very nice moment. Part of the video, we will talk about upside. We'll talk about how it's undervalued. We'll talk about what it can do in this bull market. We'll talk about where we are in the bull market. We're going to talk about what downside could look like at this moment, because I think it's very important. So just really fun posting this. What's insane is this happened a little sooner than I thought it would, but yet here we are. Let me just go over a couple of things. Just some brief context, just like brief reminders. And this isn't even everything. This is just a few recent narratives, recent things going on. Charles Hoskinson on his SpaceX visits, and then we're going to get into the charts. We were discussing some things, still under NDA. Can't talk about it, but when I can, I will. Leaves a lot to the imagination. Bitcoin OS. I mean, this was Eric Voorhees over here from Venice AI, but I think he's Shapeshift, right? Permissionless protocol, deposit BTC, borrow stables. Who's building this? Who's building this permissionless protocol for Bitcoin? It's here. Bitcoin OS will allow you to cryptographically move your BTC to other chains and use it in DeFi, on Cardano, and other ecosystems. No permission is required from custodial multi-sig bridges. Cardano bringing the tech, everybody, to Bitcoin. Remember, $2 trillion of liquidity on Bitcoin. I'd say that's relevant at this stage of the cycle. So SpaceX, Bitcoin OS, Trump, and Department of Government Efficiency, federal blockchain voting system with Cardano. Just let this build. Let these news headlines build as we do start slowly pivoting to price, because price is value. Price is the value of ADA. And this is what I'm saying is undervalued. You have these headlines. And then lastly, and by the way, I'm leaving so much out. These are just recent headlines. I retweeted Plutus earlier because he said, guys, I'm going to be honest with you. The ADA price action isn't retail. This is what front running an ETF looks like. Enjoy the cycle. And it is starting to look kind of crazy. And then I just came across this article. Cardano's ADA leaps to 2.5-year high of 90 cents, now at $1 as I do the video, as whale holdings exceed 12 billion. On-chain activity shows the involvement of large investors and institutions, indicating that the price surge could have staying power. So on-chain activity playing into this thesis of institutional accumulation. And if we just kind of go down a little bit here, check this out. On-chain activity confirms the involvement of whales and institutions, indicating this rally could have staying power. I want to point that out. Staying power. And that's not without dips, by the way, right? Let's keep that in mind. Data from analytics firm Into the Block shows a number of large transactions involving ADA has skyrocketed by 300% in 2 weeks. It's a sign, here we go, of heightened interest from institutional investors. Some of this momentum is sentiment driven, as previously noted, with Cardano's founder Charles Hoskinson hinting at potential collaborations with the Trump administration for crypto-friendly policies. Okay, so those things in mind, and don't worry, we're about to pivot into the charts. We're going to look at charts. But those things in mind, and you just go to the top 10, just go to CoinMarketCap, you look at, top cryptos. Even with the recent price movement of Cardano, I just really want to point this out. And this is going to be relevant as we dig into the charts. ADA is at $1.03. And again, this is why in my thumbnail I put it begins. ADA is at $1.03 with a $34 billion valuation. So just to put it into context here, all of those headlines we just talked about, Bitcoin OS, SpaceX, federal blockchain election system using Cardano, all of those things, and ADA is still actually like half of Dogecoin market cap. If we look at this, again, $35 billion Cardano versus $82 billion XRP. Solana is $121 billion, the blockchain that shuts down. And it could never be used for elections. I just want to say that. Again, no hate on Solana. If you're a Solana holder, congrats on the gains. You're killing it. I'm happy for everybody in the space that's getting the gains. But I'm just saying, as a value investor looking at $35 billion market cap, and finally people are starting to realize what Cardano can be used for, this severely undervalued. That's just the way it is. And then you look at, if you go higher, $399 billion for Ethereum. This means Cardano is over 10x away from Ethereum right now. So I really wanted to put that into perspective before we get into the charts, because we're going to talk about some of those numbers in the video. So let's discuss. So here it is on the weekly. First thing to point out, I know I point it out all the time, but just want to point it out. If you look at where we are in the cycle, and this is where things are really nice looking. First off, $1, right? Let's just talk about that for a second. We're at $1. Last time ADA was at $1 was back here in April 2022, and it was on the way down. This was in the middle of all the capitulation and the FTX and the Celsius, the bear market, everybody. If you were here through that, watching my videos, I just want to say I appreciate you for hanging out through the bear market. We went through an entire bear market in the crypto space, so ugly. And if you're new into crypto, props to you for not having to live through all that mess. But either way, that's the last time ADA was at $1, when it was falling, plummeting into the bear market lows down into the 20s. So we're back at $1. Here's where things become interesting. So we go back even further before that. The last time ADA was at $1 was here. Now, this is what's very bullish. And this is why I say it begins. This is just the beginning. We just saw how ADA is undervalued, severely undervalued. And I'm going to talk about the upside in terms of that. But this right here, this move at $1, please note, yes, the staking mechanism was recently put online. We had that, just the best consensus mechanism in crypto, staking mechanism. But the multi-asset ledger was like just coming online with the Mary hard fork and just starting to be like used, right? We did not even have smart contracts yet. The scalability and all the stuff that Cardano has been working on, not here yet. So right now, we have an entire exploding, ridiculous ecosystem on Cardano with all of those headlines that we just talked about. Cardano is getting set up to be used for things like elections, right? Now, furthermore, just from a technical analysis perspective, $1 was over here in the parabolic mania of the bull market. And so if we look at where we are comparative to last cycle, we are kind of right around here. So starting line, last cycle at this moment was around 15 cents. Okay? So just think about this. Starting line last cycle at this moment was 15 cents. Starting line at this moment, $1. So Last cycle, yes, ADA went to $3 from 15 cents. Nice gains, awesome gains. Where can it go from the starting line today? And I think we have a really nice context to that. It's very simple. It's really not rocket science. And this is how I've tracked data on Bitcoin charts over the years, other altcoins, everything. This is how I'm tracking. I mean, y'all know I'm just insanely bullish on dog meme coin on Bitcoin. It's exactly the same type of data I'm using it as it compares to Dogecoin. The value increase potential of these coins, we use other data points from other coins because they have more history. So in this regard, for ADA, it's very simple. A $250 billion ADA is $7. That is so in play. A $500 billion market cap is $14 for ADA. That is in play. And why is it so in play? Well, if you look at Ethereum, it's very simple. Last cycle, Ethereum surpassed $500 billion. In a world where Cardano has a more decentralized system, an incredibly more secure system, and is in talk with federal government, potentially be used for elections, amongst other things, creating innovations for Bitcoin DeFi. Is there a reason why Cardano couldn't hit what Ethereum hit last cycle in the 500 billion range? There's no reason. Cardano has gotten this, like, kind of has gotten branded as this thing where, you know, the cool guys in crypto just like to kind of hate on it a little bit. It just became this thing. But that's a meaningless social flex that doesn't even make sense. And as ADA begins to rise in value, you'll see that social flex become less cool, because then you begin looking very silly for doing that while ADA increases in value. And I think that's kind of the shift that we're going to go into. And so, and that could also fuel ADA price. So the upside for ADA right now in that range it's just very much in play. I don't know where crypto is going to go in this bull run, but what I do know is when we're looking at historical cycles and we're looking at, you know, put aside Cardano, but we're looking at Bitcoin dominance, hasn't even started falling yet, by the way. If I go over here to a Bitcoin dominance chart, it's Bitcoin chart, but you go to Bitcoin dominance chart, just look at this. It's at the lower high Fibonacci. It's at this historic area where it might be ready to fall. We're not even there yet. It hasn't even started falling. Bitcoin dominance hasn't even started falling yet. If we get altcoin season, I say if because, again, I want to be very clear about this. None of us have any idea if we're about to get that next 6 to 12 months of craziness that I think a lot of us are thinking we're going to get. If history repeats, we get another cycle, it's very much in play and is very much beginning right now. But I just want to say there's no guarantees. Maybe $1.03 is the top for ADA and it's back down to 20 cents. Are you prepared for that? I'm not saying because I think it's going to happen, but I am saying this: nobody knows what's going to happen and anything can happen. And the purpose of my analysis is not to predict, but it's to prepare. So prepare for downside. And we'll talk about short-term volatility, but in my view, we are just getting started. There's going to be volatility, but we're at the very beginning. And the value, the upside of ADA right now is very strong when you start looking at other blockchains and what they've done in the past. So that range up there, very much in play. I have $31 ADA, 1 trillion just as a reference mark. I don't think this cycle, I want to be very clear about this because I could see like Cointelegraph or somebody like just writing an article snapshotting that I said this. I'm not saying this cycle is going to $31, $1 trillion market cap. Could ADA go to $1 trillion market cap one day? Yeah. Is it this cycle? No. I will say emphatically, I just don't think that's happening. So let me be very clear about that. I just have that kind of as a note for myself. That's ADA on the zoomed out. Here's the move on the daily. And really, again, it just keeps breaking up. I would say the target for, and let me just change this real briefly to a 4 hour so we can look at this. Again, I lost the chart. I did this earlier. But I would say the target to the upside has pretty much been reached. I've been tracking this on ADA. I think I posted it on X somewhere around here, right? I don't remember exactly what the price was, this rising channel that ADA's in. And we got the breakout to the upside, the $5 target. It didn't hit $5, but I would say it's pretty much, we hit that target. So on the short term, potential throwback. But I'm not going to sit here and just do this short-term analysis. I want to go to the daily because ADA realistically, I mean, it could just keep pumping, okay? But what I do want to do is I want to go back to the daily and I want to try and get an idea of like, what can we look for? Like, because there's not a lot of structure on the daily. What can we look for in terms of ADA right now? So going over here, let me remove this. The best thing for me to do is very simply look at last cycle, because these cryptos, they move very similar to each other and to themselves. And so what I want to point out to you is this. Two points on this chart. Number one is this point in November 2020. And if we go over here very briefly to the weekly chart, November 2020, just as a reminder, this candle, the 20-week moving average being broken, that was pivotal for ADA for entering its bull market last cycle. And this is why I've been tracking that 20-week moving average finally being broken this cycle. So this move is where we are, okay? But look at these two recent weekly candles and then go back and look at it back here. A little bit different of a vibe in terms of momentum. But going to the daily, check this out. Right now, ADA overextended from the moving averages. This is what helps me as a guide. From the 20-day moving average, ADA is overextended, over 70% overextended from the 20-day moving average. And then we go back to that move, last cycle. So here it is on the daily chart, that weekly move we just looked at through the 20-week moving average. This is what it looks like over here. So this swing high wick, check this out, from the 20-day moving average, that was overextended of almost 70%. So think about this. Last cycle, like, this is ridiculous to say, but almost to the day, like, I mean, and really look, it's November 24th, swing high. Today's November 22nd, 2024. Back then, 2020, 70% overextended, almost 70% overextended from the 20-day moving average in green. What did it do next? So just please keep this in mind. I'm not saying this is the next move for ADA, but quite literally, you can just look at this right now. If you're wondering, well, what might happen? Is this it? Like, are we going to consolidate? Is it going to dip? How far is it going to dip? What to look for? There's literally nobody can tell you, first off, what's going to happen next, but there's absolutely nothing better to do than just go look at how ADA interacted with the similar move from exactly 4 years ago, right before altcoin season was about to begin. It's doing almost the same exact thing to the day. It's insane. And what did it do? From swing high, people getting crazy, almost 20 cents, and then boom, within a matter of days, it dipped 42%, all the way right to the 50-day moving average, back down to 11 cents. So just to give you a dose of reality right now, and I know you don't want to hear it. I know you just probably want me talking about $1.50. We're going to talk about upside targets, but I know you want me to talk about all the upside targets. But look at that 42% dip for ADA after making this almost identical move. So if we go to the chart now, 73% overextended. Again, I'm not saying this is what's going to happen, but I am saying maybe just prepare for it. And also, if it happens, you can sit there and kind of be like, well, I mean, it's traded like this before. This is what crypto does. So from the swing high so far, I don't know where the wick swing high resistance will be. 20-day moving average, 41% to the downside. That's 60 cents. We are at $1.02. I'm talking about a world where in 2 days, it could be 60 cents. I know that sounds depressing, but that's just the way that it is. That's how crypto trades. That's not my opinion. I've been doing this on this YouTube channel for like a really long time now. And that is just one consistency. These massive dips happen. And you just saw it last cycle. And what I wanted to do was, if we look at last cycle, there's that move. And then I zoom out a little bit and I go a little further into the bull market, right? And I say, okay, what are these moves doing? How overextended are these pops to the upside getting? Because look, after Cardano consolidated, it went higher, consolidated, went higher. But look at that pattern. Just keeps pulling into those moving averages, pulls into moving averages. That's crypto. Look at any chart. So the next move, overextension from the 20-day moving average, around 95%, 96%. Purple line, that's altcoin season like starting. That's Bitcoin dominance starting to fall right there. And this is what happens, right? Almost 100% overextended and then consolidation, pulling in big dips, as you can see. And then we have another swing high to the upside from the 20-day moving average. We're looking at over 100%. So we've seen around 70% to over 100% overextension from that 20-day moving average. And the move that you see here happening, it looks more like those later into the bull market moves. So just like take a glance at that, right? And then we go back here, it definitely looks like more like this. Look at this. And that's deeper into the bull market. This is when ADA was going from like 33 cents to around $1. This is like the move we got then, but this is like the exact move we just got now, 32 cents to $1. But look how much earlier in this cycle it is happening. Look at the fundamentals that are so much more in place now than then. Right now, ADA is at its starting line. And again, I'll re-echo, it is severely underrated. So that's what we're looking at on ADA. So just to give you a sense, that's what the pullbacks look like. It's for me, and it's consistent across the board, whether I'm looking at a Bitcoin chart, ADA chart, dog chart, whatever chart, 20 and the 50. If ADA does start consolidating and dipping and crypto's dipping, what is it doing? What kind of structure is it putting in to pull those 20 and the 50 days in, right? So it could just be some type of pattern, channel, whatever. That's what I'll be watching for. But I'm very much prepared for it. I will very much enjoy continued upside. So let's talk about that a little bit. The biggest thing, as many of you might have seen, I think, and talked about in today's earlier video, it's really this next target is right here. That swing high back here, back in the entering the bear market. And let me actually just do it on the, let's chart it on this weekly. It's just easier to see. So it's right here. And I'll put it in red. That's the next target to the upside for ADA on this chart. I would very much enjoy if we don't even get any weekly consolidation on this chart and we see more green to the upside to test that area. Because that swing high area, that's, I think, the area where we really confirm the bull market for ADA. And this is why I've mentioned this as like the top end of the bull market door channel for ADA. You go to last cycle. At that time, that was this move, this swing high in the bear market on the way down, and it was ADA. And you can see the consolidation for a couple of weeks there before going higher, but that was ADA at around 40 cents. So that move for us now is $1.25. Once ADA does that and breaks through that area, I think it's game on in terms of getting back to all-time highs and price discovery. And just look at the price discovery range. I mean, it's kind of exciting if you really think about it. I'm zoomed out on the weekly. We take our last swing high and we can bring it all the way up to 250 billion. Well, we can bring it up to 200 to 500 billion. Look at this price discovery range for Cardano that is very much in play. I mean, look at where it's not that far. I talked about this in the live stream earlier. I don't want to repeat myself too much, but it is a move of around 200% away to get into that price discovery. We're talking about, it's not even 2025 yet. We're anticipating a 2025 bull market, right? So 200% move just happened here on the ADA charts. Look at this. We just had it in weeks. So we have the rest of this year. We have going into Q1, Q2, 2025. We have time to chop into this, to head towards price discovery area. And that's just the thing. I think it's a good idea to pace ourselves, at least pace our anticipations. Like I know we want all-time high $3 by the end of November or even the end of December, but that's not too realistic. I think we need to just anticipate big dips, anticipate consolidations. You can see in any Bitcoin chart, any crypto chart, any ADA chart, the red candles, they happen on the weekly. And, that's just the name of the game, everybody. And so that's why I talk about dips, not to be negative. I know I could just straight up pump the excitement nonstop, but that does no one any good, because when the red candles do come, when the dips do come, then what? We got almost 10,000 people watching the stream. We got to get to 1,000 likes. If you're out there and you're enjoying the content, please, I appreciate your support. I don't like sitting here begging for likes, but it just genuinely helps the algorithm, helps the channel. So, and especially if you're an ADA bull, if you're holding ADA, you got to hit the like button. You just got to. So what do you think? What do you personally think is a likely range for ADA to land this bull run? Sorry for arriving late. I mean, it's hard for me to be specific, like with an exact price target, because it's just like you're either undershooting it, you're overshooting it. That's why I really like ranges. On Bitcoin, it has such nice structure on the macro with the inverse, this massive inverse head and shoulders. This target that I have this is fine for me. Let's get into that range. Let's get into that price discovery, 130,000 up to 300,000. I know it's a broad range, but there's things and there's factors to watch for in the moments when we're in there. Who knows what's going to be happening? Say in June 2025, we're at 175. Who knows what the headlines are? Who knows what the dollar's doing? Who knows what's going on, right? So it's impossible to have like a specific target. That's why I like ranges. You get in the range, you have a plan based on the speculative range, so you know what you're doing once it enters the range. So for me with ADA, it's kind of similar. I don't have a really nice structure on the ADA charts, but what we do have is kind of what we discussed in this video. We have the entire price discovery range above $3. We have the $250 billion to $500 billion range, which we've already identified as kind of like, that's fair in terms of the value of Cardano and what it's doing. And I think a lot of the industry is waking up to what it's doing. So I know I didn't answer your exact question, but I think having a range is better. You know, the question really for any of us should be, even when we're at 32 cents, hey, what are you doing at $1? What are you doing at $1.20? What are you doing at $1.80? What are you doing at $2.20? This is kind of a video I put out like a week or two ago about taking profits. I use Cardano as an example. What are you doing at these levels? If I sat down with you at a table and I asked you like, hey, do you know what you're doing with your portfolio? Like if it gets to $1.50, can you sit there right there in the moment and be like, I'm doing nothing. I already have my plan. $1.50 is not part of it. Or are you like, $1.50 is part of it? I'm selling 5% of my portfolio. Like everybody's plan is different. The key is to have a plan, right? And so what does that plan look like on the way up into a range? What does it look like on the way up to all-time high and beyond all-time high? That's it. Don't go on YouTube looking for YouTubers to tell you when to sell. None of us, I mean, at least me, I'm not going to tell you when to sell. Don't go on YouTube for any financial advice. Sit down, collect data from YouTubers. So many of them are offering awesome data, but sit down with the plan and ask yourself, wow, Cardano is at $1. And like, it can be at $1.50, like very quickly. Is there an action at $1.50 for me in my life, my portfolio? We're all different, everybody. So don't rely on anybody to tell you what to do. But I think that's just a fair range. If we really look at how undervalued Cardano is, all the way up to $500 billion market cap. Daniel got a nice little entry at 50 cents. He's chilling. Let's talk about dog runes, please. That's another video, my man. It'll come. Definitely do a dog video. But this is a milestone video for ADA, $1. So I just saw a funny comment. I'm trying to find it. Comments are kind of going, where'd that go? Somebody I think said they're redoing their ADA plan now that we're at $1. And it is, like, you think about this, 200% gains in a matter of a few weeks is next level. And then we go to the monthly. And by the way, actually, I haven't talked enough about this. We started with the video, and maybe I'll end with this, but don't forget, this post is great. This ADA price action isn't retail. Remember, I posted earlier, I don't think the hype is not here. It just doesn't seem like it's here for me. I don't think this is retail. This is what front running an ETF looks like. And we just looked at the whale data. We looked at the institutional data. Some of this momentum is sentiment driven, previously noted, with Cardano's founder, Charles Hoskinson, hitting at potential collaborations. It's a sign of heightened interest from institutional investors. So let's not forget that either when we're talking about how undervalued ADA is. Look at this candle on the monthly right now. That's an epic looking monthly candle. And altcoin season, I don't think has even started. Go to the Bitcoin dominance chart, it's very evident. Bitcoin dominance, even right now, putting in a green monthly candle. It has not started falling. So again, we need to pace ourselves. So these are my thoughts. I didn't want to make this too long. We're at a half hour. Just epic to have 10,744 of y'all out there. And we're back at $1 again. Remember, huge dips can happen. And I'm talking 20, 30, 40% dips. I'm not saying I think it's going to, but if it does, just remember, we've seen it before and we're just getting started. Genuinely think that. These are just my thoughts, not financial advice. This is my crypto journey. This is how I see things, everybody. And I'm just putting it out there. So let's continue watching ADA. If you're an ADA holder, congrats on $1. I'm sure hopefully soon we'll be back with $1.50, $2, $3, maybe soon. And we'll enjoy that as well, I'm sure. Appreciate y'all. Again, on the way out, hit the like button if you got any value from this. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Turn notifications on. We'll have to do another live stream, maybe at 100,000 Bitcoin, if it happens. I'll see you in the next video. Have a good Friday night. God bless.